job is very privileged to have with us Mr. Pankaj Sampat, General Manager, Taj Santacruz. And we're going to learn a lot about the hospitality industry from his wide experience. Thank you for being with us, sir.
So basically, as a general manager of the hotel, you need to manage the hotel. So you have hotels of different sizes, ranging from 100 rooms to as high as 2,000, 3,000 rooms. As a general manager, you basically manage the entire operations of the hotel, which involves all the departments that are at the hotel, which include front office, housekeeping, food and beverage service, rooms, and the other allied areas like engineering, back of the house, laundry, etc. So a general manager's job is to manage the entire operations of the hotel. Most importantly is to manage the expectations of guests. We are in the business of looking after our guests, and we believe that Atithi Dev Bhava means guest is God. So the business is the most important part of a general manager's portfolio. So ensuring that the hotel is profitable, it grows in terms of its revenues, it improves on its financial performance. So general manager is also the business manager of the hotel. And I think along with managing the needs of the guests, the associates that work at the hotel, managing the aspirations of the stakeholder, the investor, the partner, and all the people who've so the shareholder for that matter as well. So I think managing all the expectations of the people who've invested in the business is equally the role of the general manager as well. So food and beverage is an extremely interesting area to work with. The reason is that you deal with multiple things. Of course, guests being most important. You also deal with food. Food itself is such a subject that in spite of me spending close to 14-15 years in food and beverage, I don't think it's enough to cover the gamut of knowledge which is available in terms of what are the different types of food, what are people's preferences, guests who come from different origins, their taste, culture. I think food is really a very, very vast subject. So I think if you're really interested in food and beverage, so I'm just talking about the food part of it. You look into the beverage part of it, then there is wines, there is spirits, and there are other beverages as well. So I think the food and beverage itself is not just only about the restaurant experience or the banqueting experience or the experience that you get in your room. I think it's also the knowledge which comes with that. I think so what really fascinated me about food and beverage, of course, is the interaction with our guests, because that's very important. You get into the managerial role, you're actually managing a large number of people that work for you. And of course, the operations, which is very, very important because you have to get everything right, whether it's your breakfast service, whether it's your lunch service, whether it's your dinner service, whether it's a party, everything needs to be right. I think, so as a manager, your job is to make sure everything is right. After becoming a manager, you move into a role of being an assistant director of food and beverage, where you have 3 or 4 restaurants or a large banqueting operations along with something else to manage. Post which you become the director of food and beverage. So food and beverage has got different roles that you work in. So you start off predominantly in food and beverage as a supervisor. I think where you learn the basics of food and beverage, dirtying your hands really, doing things which normally after topping your college or after doing catering college you're not expected to do. But I think you need to get your hands dirty, which is very important when you start off. And then eventually you go into a role where you start managing and taking responsibility, which is you manage a restaurant, or you manage a bar, or you're managing a banqueting operation, which includes outdoor catering in different parts of the country, different parts of Mumbai, different parts of the world. Then you have an area called the accommodations. Accommodations means everything to do with the guest stay. The accommodations is divided into 2 parts. Predominantly the front office, which is where your check-ins happen, your check-outs happen, your billing happens. Concierge, which is information, travel desk services, all that happens through the concierge. Then you have the bell desk, which is predominantly the luggage and the porter services that we provide. And in the accommodations, you also have the second division, which is predominantly the housekeeping, and which is a very important, the heart of the hotel is the housekeeping. And housekeeping involves making sure that all guest rooms get cleaned every single day, irrespective whether they are occupied or not. Housekeeping also encompasses the cleanliness of the public areas, your restaurants, your back of the house, your pest control. I think so. That's a very, very important area for us as well. So housekeeping is part of the accommodations. The other important areas in the hotel is your engineering services, your purchase and receiving, for that matter. I think is a very important area for us, because on a daily basis you get lots of items that come in fresh, especially food items. Your stores, I think more or less, and of course security as well. I think security is extremely important, because today, in today's day and age, the safety of your guests is very, very important. So sales and marketing is another area. Sales and marketing predominantly has got 2 or 3 functions. One of them is the field sales, where the team actually goes out and kind of gets you the business for the hotel. I was pursuing science at Mithibai College here in Mumbai, and my aspiration was to become an engineer. In those days, there was a very high capitation fees, and I didn't want to kind of put burden on my father, and I said, let me do something where I don't have to pay any capitation fees, and I go into that program on merit. And I joined a Hotel Management Institute at Ahmedabad, which is part of the National Council. There were 13 institutes in the good old days. My posting was in Ahmedabad at that point in time, and I passed out in '93. And I had numerous offers to kind of take up and choose from, and I thought, why not work with the best in the business? And I thought I'll join the Taj, and that's what I did. So I was posted at the flagship, which is the Taj Mahal Palace, Mumbai, and that's where my journey began with the hotel industry as such. Even a graduate, for that matter, who has the right attitude. And then we've had instances of a bellboy moving all the way up the ranks to become a general manager of a hotel in the Taj. So I think it's just about the right attitude, the business acumen, the interpersonal skills, the sensitivity, empathy towards guests and associates. I think somebody with those qualities would do well as a general manager. So we have people joining us at ground level, which starts from catering colleges, from your ITIs which are there in Bombay, Don Bosco. So we do a lot of public-private partnership with ITIs. We take people at entry level from there. At supervisory and managerial level, we have programs that we run at the corporate level, where a team from the hotels as well as the corporate office visits various catering colleges across the country and selects the best talent that we can get to join us, because that's eventually the future for us. And many of these people who will join in supervisory or managerial roles will kind of take this company forward. So I think that's very, very important for us. We also recruit from the market as well. So it's not necessarily that we need to recruit. So sales and marketing person could be from another industry as well. We're open to taking people from other industries as well, as long as we're able to get new insights into how we do business. Has given me the opportunity to look after some very distinguished guests, and I think that's something which I will cherish through my life. Whether it's heads of states, whether it's the Prime Minister of the country. On numerous occasions, I have had the privilege to look after and serve many of these personalities, which include President Clinton, Dr. Manmohan Singh, Mr. Vajpayee, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. About a 5-star hotel, it's all about the lights, the stars. It's a very glamorous industry from the outside, but in reality, it's very, very tough. And I think I'm not just speaking for myself, I'm speaking for all the colleagues who work in our industry. I think our industry is extremely tough because there's a lot of sacrifice to be made. Work-life balance at times it takes the back seat because you are so focused to kind of making those special moments for your guests that come to you. When people are celebrating occasions, whether it's a Diwali, whether it's a Christmas, whether it's a New Year, whether it's a wedding, you can be assured that you are actually going to be in the hotel working because it's season time for you as well. Another important aspect is look at our chefs, and I'm saying, and a lot of our work predominantly happens with people who actually stand on their feet. Whether it's the order dining where people are actually standing for 8 hours on their feet, whether it's the kitchens where people work for 10 hours on their feet. When you do the outdoor catering, sometimes you are actually on your feet for a good 24 to 36 hours. So our industry is extremely tough, but I think if you're passionate about what you do, there's a very strong sense of satisfaction, and that cannot be taken away from you. So there is a lot of hard work, there is a lot of sweat that goes behind, but I think there's a very high level of satisfaction that you achieve when you make your guests happy. I think that is what you really look forward to. It's good to have competition. I think let's put it that way. I think India is a country itself, and the number of quality rooms available to people who come to India is very, very less. That's always been the concern for people who travel to India. India is a very, very, very large market for both domestic as well as travelers that come from abroad. And to have somebody deliver quality rooms across different brands, chains, or whether it's Hoyo rooms for that matter, is extremely important for our business. And I'm talking about the whole travel and trade business. I'm not talking about just the Taj hotels where I work at this point in time. I think if we are able to kind of get proper infrastructure in terms of rooms, quality of rooms that we give our guests that come from all over the world, local travel as well, I think it does well for everybody. The whole industry does well. And the industry is not just hotels itself, it's also travel and trade, it's also about the people who kind of provide services. I think everybody does well. It's important to recognize that we have to work with all our partners. When you talk about aggregators, when you talk about OTAs, we have to work with all the partners together in the sense that the world is dynamic, it's going to change. A master's would definitely be something that we would consider very strongly. A master's from Cornell or a master's from ESSEC, I think is something that I would recommend somebody to pursue at some point in time after they've got a decent job experience. Before that, I would not recommend. We've got very, very good education systems in India. The IHM itself is a very strong institution. Catering colleges like the IHM Aurangabad, run by the Taj, or the Manipal Institute, which is run by the ITC, Sofas in Mumbai. They're very, very good colleges. So I don't think you need to travel to kind of pursue your basic education in hotel management, but I think, yes, you could pursue your master's from Cornell or from ESSEC. If you're specializing predominantly into culinary skills, then I would, then there are definitely some of the very fine ones internationally available, which include CIA in USA. There are courses in Switzerland as well. If you're doing baking predominantly or pastry, then Switzerland, of course, again, some very fine colleges there. So I think you would predominantly need to decide what you want to do. But for the basic education, I think India offers the finest at this point. It's comparable to what you get abroad. You are looking forward to getting a different experience yourself, and the reason is because you deal with human beings, and no human being is same, whether it's your guest, whether it's an associate that you work with. I think that's the best part of our business. We deal with people who bring about a lot of variety in our daily lives. Somebody else's challenge becomes an opportunity for us, and I think it's a very positive way to look at what we do every single day.